Welcome to a place where time slows and the cosmos hums softly in the dark. For more than 4.5 billion years, the planets in our solar system have drifted silently around a modest star, each cloaked in their own strange beauty and quiet danger. Temperatures that boil metal, winds faster than sound, storms that have lasted for centuries, these are the guardians of distant worlds. Yet tonight we will not fear them. Instead, we'll explore the dreamlike question. What would it feel like to face the end on every planet? Not morbid, but mysterious. Not grim, only curious. A tour across worlds so different from our own, their deaths are like poems written in fire, lightning, or infinite cold. If you enjoy these gentle science journeys, I invite you to like and subscribe, or share a favorite fact in the comments. It helps others find their way here too, one sleepy soul at a time. For now, there's nothing you need to do but rest. Settle in, breathe deeply, and let's begin. We begin, as all planetary stories must, with Mercury. Closest to the Sun and wrapped in extremes, it is a world of no air, no mercy, and no pause between fire and frost. Sunlight here is 11 times stronger than on Earth, and noon temperatures rise to nearly 800 degrees Fahrenheit, enough to melt lead. But only a few steps into the shade, the temperature plummets to minus 290 degrees. On Mercury, you would die not once, but twice. First from searing heat that blisters and burns, then from a silence so deep it freezes your blood into stillness. There is no oxygen to breathe, no atmosphere to cushion your fall. Time passes slowly under a sun that never sets, rising and falling only every 176 Earth days. A long moment, stretched between fire and shadow. On Mercury, your last breath wouldn't carry sound. It would vanish into the vacuum, a secret kept in starlight. Next, we drift to Venus, a planet often called Earth's sister, though it feels more like a fever dream than family. Veiled in golden clouds and cloaked in toxic skies, Venus is hotter than Mercury, despite being farther from the Sun. Temperatures remain steady at around 864 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to melt zinc, lead, and even dreams of survival. The atmosphere is thick, composed mostly of carbon dioxide, pressing down with a weight 90 times heavier than Earth's sea level. Here, you wouldn't suffocate quickly. Instead, you'd be crushed. Your body would fall under the weight of 100 suns, breath stolen by the toxic air, then dissolved by sulfuric acid gently falling through the clouds. Winds move in slow, swirling circles, but at cloud level, they race around the planet at over 200 to 100 miles per hour, carving silence into storm. On Venus, the sun rises in the west and sets in the east. But in all that brightness, you'd never see it, only a thick, yellow haze, heavy with secrets. Death here is not a violent end, but a slow unraveling under a velvet sky of fire. Now we drift farther, past the golden clouds, to a world dressed in rust and longing. Mars, the red planet, where winds whisper across ancient riverbeds and phantom dust storms rise like forgotten memories. The air here is thin, less than 1% the density of Earth's. You would try to breathe, and nothing would answer. With no oxygen to fill your lungs and freezing temperatures that dip as low as minus 195 degrees Fahrenheit, death here would be gentle in its silence. Your blood would not boil, not quite, but your body, exposed without pressure, would swell. Ice would form inside your cells, quietly, relentlessly. Mars, once so full of possibility, delivers death slowly, like a planet still missing something. Its gravity is only 1/3 of Earth's, enough to pull you down softly, but not enough to keep you. You might float in your final moments, suspended over pebbled soil and faded whispers of ancient water. A desert stretched across dreams of life, offering only wind and red dust as lullaby. Beyond the rocky terrain of Mars, we sail into the softly glowing belt of gas giants, beginning with Jupiter, the great eye in the sky. This is a planet without a surface, with no true ground to meet your fall. Beneath its clouds lie layers of compressed hydrogen, swirling storms, and unimaginable pressure. The Great Red Spot, a storm 3 times wider than Earth, has raged for more than 350 years, spinning in silence like a celestial clock with no hands. Falling into Jupiter would feel endless. At first, you would drift through upper clouds of ammonia and water, golden and ghostly. Then, with every mile deeper, you'd face more pressure than the bottom of Earth's oceans, enough to crush a submarine like paper. Heat would rise beyond reason over 40,000 degrees Fahrenheit near the core, hotter than the surface of the Sunday. But before the heat, before the crush, would be the drifting. Hours of floating through clouds the color of forgotten dreams, falling but never landing until even your atoms surrender. On Jupiter, death feels like being slowly forgotten by gravity itself. And then, farther still, we reach Saturn, the jewel of the solar system, circled endlessly by rings of ice and dust. From afar, Saturn seems serene, a planet wrapped in golden pastels and swirls of muted color. But to approach is to enter a world laced with forces beyond imagination. Like Jupiter, Saturn is a gas giant with no solid surface to greet you. If you fell toward its cloud tops, you'd begin in softness bands of cream and apricot clouds stretched across the sky. But the silence hides a descent into pressure and cold. Temperatures near the upper atmosphere begin at -285 degrees Fahrenheit, enough to freeze hope thin. The deeper you fall, the heavier the air becomes, thick with hydrogen and helium, pressing in like the weight of ancient oceans. Lightning storms spark in the distance, brighter than anything on Earth, flickering across skies where thunder has no voice. Downward, the pull grows stronger, a slow embrace, until you're folded into layers of density where no sunbeam can follow. Here, your body would vanish, not all at once, but molecule by molecule, absorbed by Saturn's silence. To die on Saturn is to be erased gently, stroke by invisible stroke, like chalk in rain. Now we drift outward into deeper cold, into the distant realm of Uranus, a planet tilted so far on its side it seems to spin along a different rhythm entirely. Pale blue and softly glowing from afar, Uranus looks calm, but its serenity is a mask for deep mystery. The atmosphere is composed mostly of hydrogen, helium, and methane, and it opens like a whisper into a freezing wilderness. The upper clouds rest at -357 degrees Fahrenheit, cold enough to render everything brittle and breathless. Here, there is no surface, only layers of gas that thicken with depth, hiding a dense slush of icy water and ammonia. Winds race silently at 560 miles per hour, moving through cyan clouds like ghost rivers. Descent would be slow and strange, like falling through the sky of a dream that does not end. Eyes would see little, ears would hear nothing, and the body, encased in cold, would drift toward the unknown. On Uranus, death arrives not as ending, but fading. There is no burst, no burn, no impact, only distance, only the soft unraveling of self beneath a turquoise sky turned eternal. Neptune waits at the edge like a final dream, the last great ocean of the solar system turning slowly in hues of midnight and frost. It is the coldest of all the planets, with temperatures reaching an extraordinary -373 degrees Fahrenheit near its cloud tops. Yet it holds the fastest winds ever recorded over 1,200 miles per hour, faster than the speed of sound. Here, the atmosphere is a deepening blend of hydrogen, helium, and methane, veiled in mysterious storms and ethereal blues. If you descended into Neptune, you would be met by layers of thick gas and icy slush, with no surface to stop your fall. The darkness would thicken, not just visually but in sensation, the kind that quietly wraps around you and pulls you inward. Pressure would crush, but gradually, ceremoniously, a slow folding into density that has no beginning or end. There would be no sound, only vibration, no flash, only hush. Death on Neptune is like being sung to sleep by a planet that does not remember your name, a soft vanishing beneath velvet winds and vapor tides, too far for even light to linger long. Beyond Neptune lies a space not claimed by any single planet, but filled with whispers from the edge of understanding. Here floats Pluto, once a planet, now a dwarf, but no less wrapped in wonder. It orbits within the Kuiper Belt, a frozen ring of ancient remnants, 3.6 billion miles from the warmth of the Sunday light, takes over 5 hours to reach it, casting only the faintest glow. Pluto's surface is a crust of nitrogen ice, with towering cliffs and vast white plains stretching into the dark. Temperatures fall to -375 degrees Fahrenheit, close to absolute zero where matter barely stirs. In this place, to die would be to simply stop. There is no air, no pressure, only the endless still of ancient cold. A fall here would be soundless. Even breath, if it could exist, would shatter like glass. On Pluto, death does not announce itself. It simply merges with the quiet, a surrender into pause, under a sky so black it feels infinite, and a gravity faint enough to forget you ever stood at all. Yet even beyond Pluto, the voyage is not truly over. In the outer reaches of the solar system, far past what light touches cleanly, invisible worlds drift unconfirmed planets, ancient comets, and icy objects whose names we have not yet learned. If one were to fall toward these frozen ghosts, the end would be colder still and stranger. Time begins to stretch here. Days become centuries. The sun becomes another star, dim and distant. There may be no impact, no sky, just a slow tumble through darkness, until even thought lets go. You would become part of the deep orbit, orbiting a memory, drifting forever. In this place, to die is not an event but an erasure, like a ship disappearing into fog that never clears. And so, from Mercury to the void beyond Neptune, each world tells its own quiet story of departure, not frightening, only transforming, a mystery cradle by cradle. Wherever we go, the cosmos does not end us harshly. It dissolves us gently into its ongoing song. But to fully understand the poetry of planetary death, we must return not to distant giants or icy strangers, but to a place more familiar, our own Earth. Though teeming with life, Earth too carries the seeds of finality, nestled quietly within its beauty. A sudden fall from great height, a dive into the deepest trench, a breath held too long here. Death wears many faces, but Earth offers context. It has an atmosphere that sings with birdsong, trees that breathe with us, oceans that remember the moon. Our end here, though perhaps more ordinary, is also wrapped in story, in memory, in legacy, in the grain of wood and the touch of hands. The ground accepts us gently, pulled down by gravity not as punishment but as embrace. Even decay is a transformation, a return to roots and water and air. Unlike on Mars or Neptune, where silence reigns without witness, Earth holds our final moments in warmth, in sound, and often in the presence of others. To die here is not to vanish, but to slowly weave back into the world that birthed us. And that too is a kind of cosmic kindness. Let us now float through time itself, to a future where planets may no longer resemble the worlds we know, where the sun, aging and expanded into a red giant, reaches out with fiery arms to claim what once orbited in peaceful rhythm. Scientists estimate that in roughly 5 billion years, this transformation will begin. Mercury and Venus will be swallowed whole, their boundaries lost to flame. Earth too may follow, or linger briefly at the edge of the inferno, scorched and stripped of oceans, atmosphere, and memory. In this distant chapter, there is no place to land, no solid form to meet an end, only the radiance of a star dying into light. And yet, in that brightness, in that final breath of a star, is a release. The atoms that once formed hands and dreams and rockets will be scattered, not destroyed, but set free into the galaxy's vast fields. From that dust, new stars will be born, new planets will turn, and somewhere, perhaps, another mind will wonder what it is like to die on every planet, unaware that the answer has always lingered inside the stars themselves. The story ends not in silence, but in stardust. As we look beyond our solar system, our gaze stretches into an endless theatre of stars, each surrounded by their own unseen planets. These are the exoplanets, over 5,000 discovered so far, their realities hinted at through faint light dips and stellar wobble. Some orbit red dwarfs in tight loops, baked by constant radiation. Others drift in habitable zones, the right distance for liquid water, and possibly for dreams to grow. But if one were to arrive unprotected on these distant worlds, death would come not as a surprise, but as a revelation, the confirmation that not all places are meant to welcome life. Some may spin too fast, tearing air from themselves like fabric unraveling. Others may possess gravity, so crushing that bones and breath collapse inward in a moment's pulse. Poisoned skies, magnetic storms, tidal cracks wide enough to swallow a continent, every world holds its own quiet warning. And yet, in each possible ending, lies a whisper of understanding, a reminder that life is rare, not because the universe is cruel, but because it sings in only certain keys. On other planets, to die is to hear the closing note of that alien music, a hush that says, gently but firmly, you do not belong here, but still, you were part of the symphony. Let us now peer into a world that is not real, yet possible, the imagined planet. Worlds dreamt by astrophysicists, artists, and simulations. Super-Earths with thick atmospheres and crushing seas. Lava planets where the ground flows like liquid glass, the sky burns orange, and each hour is a day of fire. Or rogue planets, drifting alone in the interstellar dark with no star to warm them, only internal heat and memory to guide their path. On a super-Earth, gravity might triple your weight, muscles trembling under the strain of standing. On a lava world, one breath could sear the lungs before sound could carry the scream. And on a rogue planet, death would come in silence again, in cold that strafes the bones and air too inert to move. But in naming these ends, we remember they are born of wonder. Each imagined world is also an invitation to imagine life, to stretch thought into distant orbits, and ask not just what ends there, but what begins. Even in death, these stories are not about endings, but about the delicate balance that allows existence at all. So as we drift through these cosmic whispers, the story of planetary death becomes more than a list of endings. It becomes a lullaby of transformation. In each fall, each hush, each unraveling, we find not despair, but quiet awe. We see how even the harshest environments carry a kind of grace, a final stillness that speaks in silence rather than alarm. To die on every planet is, in the end, to touch the edges of what makes life precious, fleeting breath, soft gravity, warmth in a single moment of sky. And as you rest now, eyes closed beneath your own familiar stars, know that the universe continues its slow, endless turning, singing not of endings, but of cycles, of continuance, of dreams that shimmer across the black. Sleep well, traveler. The cosmos is watching, and all is calm. Before the stars were measured, before names were etched into maps or molecules were split, death was already part of the story written in the dark. The universe expanded with silence, unfolding like a breath held too long and then released. From that breath came galaxies, stars, planets, and endings. Every supernova that once marked a stellar death became the birthplace of something new. Carbon, iron, gold, the inward collapse of fire birthed all that could feel, love, end. And so, perhaps, death is not the shadow that follows life, but the cradle in which all things are rocked, a necessary letting go so that something else may rise. In this cosmic rhythm, what it means to die is also what it means to begin again, somewhere far beyond, in another form, another flicker, another planet waiting to sing. Softly now, let that thought linger. Let it cradle you as the sky deepens around your rest, and the stars above whisper secret endings that are not ends at all. Sleep well, traveler, all is part of the song. And in the quiet stretch between stars, where matter is sparse and dark energy rules, we come to the final frontier of planetary death, not dying on a world, but within the void itself. Here, in intergalactic space, there is no orbit, no warmth, no sound. One might imagine drifting endlessly, far from any sun or planet, surrounded only by the faint glow of distant galaxies like lanterns too far to touch. Temperature approaches absolute zero, and particles move so slowly it is as though time has given up. To perish here is to become starlight's faint memory, a soul unraveling in solitude, untouched by gravity, air, or flame. No cry can echo, no step can fall. Death in space is the dissolution of the self into stillness, more absolute than silence, weightless, breathless, timeless. Yet even in this, something profound remains, the knowledge that, out of this same vacuum, stars were born. Perhaps this final vanishing is not an end at all, but a last return, a surrender into the source, into the canvas upon which the universe paints its next beginning. And so, traveler, as you drift towards sleep, imagine yourself held in the arms of that endless quiet, where death is gentle and all things are possible once more. Let us imagine now a planet shaped entirely by liquid, an ocean world, deep and endless, with no land to meet your final breath. Oceans 10 times deeper than Earth's Mariana Trench cradle the core, and the pressure at the bottom would be so immense it would crush steel as easily as paper. Descending into such a sea would begin as a weightless drift, light filtering through alien blues and greens, strange bioluminescence casting soft pulses like the heartbeat of the planet itself. But as you fell, warmth would vanish, light would dim, and silence would take hold. The water, placid above, would compress the body until lungs collapsed and bones folded inward without protest. There would be no gasp, only surrender, a return to fluid origins in a sea the stars forgot. Here, death is not dramatic. It is dissolved, dispersed, a name written in ripples, swallowed gently by a world that holds no sky. Now, turn your mind to an iron rain world, strange, shimmering places like WASP-76b, a gas giant so close to its host star that one side is locked perpetually in day, forever scorched. Temperatures on this daylight face reach over 4,000 degrees Fahrenheit, vaporizing metals into clouds. Winds carry these vaporized metals to the cooler night side, where they condense and fall again as sheets of molten iron. Imagine standing there, if standing were even possible. The heat would strip molecules from your skin before the ground could ever greet you. Any presence, metal, flesh, thought would be unmade by fire, then pierced by metallic rain slipping quietly from midnight skies. No lightning, no thunder, just the soft hiss of unseeable needles. On such a world, death finds you not in chaos, but in symmetry, an endless ballet of evaporation and return, the way breath leaves warm and returns cold, iron falling like memory, sky weeping metal. And still, beneath it all, the rhythm of stars beating on, uncaring, eternal. Now picture a tidally locked planet, one that shows only one face to its star, forever. One hemisphere scorched in constant daylight, burnt into deserts of glass and silence. the other shrouded in permanent midnight, frozen into stillness. Between them, a narrow twilight band may exist, twilight eternal, where temperatures briefly balance on the edge of livable. Yet this ribbon is fragile. To wander even slightly into the day side means being baked by unrelenting radiation, where even shadows steam. To step into night is to feel heat flee the body faster than breath. On such a world, death is a question of misstep or of time. Peripheral winds scream across this thin margin, cyclones howling in perpetual loops where daylight and darkness wage their endless standoff. You would perish not in fire nor in frost alone, but in the dissonance of both. A world where extremes never sleep. And still, in the center of that fragile dusk, one could pause, weightless between fates, suspended in a moment that feels like neither life nor death, only the ongoing tension of existence pulled between suns and shadows. Consider now a planet made entirely of ice, not cold, stone, or frozen liquid, but crystalline layers of methane, nitrogen, and frozen atmosphere piled over a rocky heart that never warms. Such places may exist in the shadowy realms beyond our own system, where sunlight arrives like a memory, dimmed and diffused. Here, to step outside is to become part of the frost. Exposed flesh would crack and shatter within moments, like porcelain struck by wind. The ground beneath would groan with pressure, fracturing in silence as tectonics creep through brittle sheets like glass. Death in this frozen hush would be quiet, still, and swift of form preserved in a sculpture of eternal cold. But more than a freezing, it would be a pause in time. An ancient world might cradle you unchanged for eons, locked beneath frost and starlight, unrotted, unmoved, a relic. A story waiting to be unthawed in some distant future where warmth returns. And so, even in stillness, a trace survives, a frozen echo, held in ice so ancient it remembers the first flickers of sun. Now imagine a gas supergiant wider than Jupiter, nestled in the dusky cradle of a triple star system. Its clouds are saturated not with water, but with exotic compounds yet unnamed, painting the sky in storm-washed tones of copper, indigo, and sage. On such a world, where day is dictated by three suns rising at opposing horizons, light plays tricks, bending across the sky in radiant cascades. But within this beauty lives a pressure too fierce for shelter. Descend, and the gases thicken like syrup, the atmosphere descending into cocoa-dark depths at impossible speeds. A body here would be swept away, not by gravity alone, but by turbulent updrafts, hundreds of miles wide, ripping limb from memory. Yet there is majesty in this undoing, the surrender of form to forces too vast to resist. Here, death feels like becoming part of the planet's storm, a brief swirl etched into atmosphere before fading into the tempest. And above it all, three stars dance and dim, inscribing your last moment across a sky that has never known silence. But let us now journey inward once more, toward a planet imagined to orbit a pulsar, a collapsed star spinning hundreds of times per second, pulsing beams of radiation like lighthouse signals through the void. These exotic planetary companions are rare, like echoes of something barely allowed to exist. A pulsar planet would live beneath a sky of relentless flashing light, with day and night replaced by bursts of invisible intensity. The radiation would pass through you, not just outside but inside, severing bonds at the atomic level, unraveling flesh into lightless threads. Magnetic fields trill stronger than anything ever known on Earth, capable of lifting iron and warping thought. And yet, in this extremity there is also stillness. To die here would be to fall against the hum of something ancient, something left over from a star's death cry. A place where death strikes instantaneously, yet without scream, boiling the soul away before it knows departure has begun. And spinning nearby, the pulsar's steady rhythm continues, ticking time into a cosmos that gives and takes evenly, without pause. Now, picture a world forever hidden behind a veil of chemical mists, a planet with an atmosphere so thick and reflective that sunlight never truly lands, only diffuses into a chromatic haze. Some planetologists theorize the existence of such veiled worlds, cloaked beneath layers of swirling hydrocarbons or silicate rain, glowing with an eerie internal heat. To stand on such a surface, if it even exists, would be like being swallowed by living fog. Visibility drops to inches, light becomes scattered to a whisper, and direction disintegrates into abstraction. You could not see the sky. You would not know if you were standing or falling. The air might shimmer, thick with corrosive gases, each breath dissolving thought and sensation in slow spirals. Death here would not be immediate but dissociative, not a loss of body, but of place, of self, a soft dimensional slipping, as though the planet itself forgets you just as you forget it. In such obscurity, the boundary between life and death softens until all distinctions blur. Like dreaming beneath a molten mirror, your final moment would stretch, not vanish, into colorless stillness. Let us drift toward one final imagined place, a planet with rings not of ice or stone, but of vapor and light. Here, the sky is always in motion, like a slow-motion river of auroras orbiting above. The rings twinkle with electrically charged gases, creating a luminous halo that bathes the ground in shifting hues of opal and violet. Beneath this sky, the terrain is uneven, half swamp and half stone, quivering with geothermal pulse. The air itself hums faintly, rich in ionized particles, inducing a soft frequency in the bones, like a lullaby without sound. To die here would be to dissolve within beauty so strange it hurts colors that bleed across the skin, electricity whispering in the veins, until your thoughts become part of the humming. No pain, no pressure, just a long, slow departure written in color and resonance. One breath drawn in too deeply and your form scatters, not broken, not vanished, but transformed. On a planet like this, unknowable and flickering between dream and light, death arrives as an invitation to become part of the glow, to fold into radiance, infinitely scattered among waves that never sleep. And so, in this long exhale of star-born stories, we close our eyes beneath the canopy of all that has ever lived, all that has ever quieted. To die on every planet, or to imagine such a thing, is to let the mind trail across the universe like a comet briefly burning, endlessly remembered. The void is vast, but never empty. It is filled with ends that are also beginnings, with silences that carry music so subtle only sleep can hear it. Let these thoughts drift with you now, like soft cosmic tides, weaving through the stillness of your room and the rhythm of your breath. Stars hum in the dark, planets sleep in invisible cradles, and somewhere, even now, dust becomes light again. You are part of it. You always were. Sleep deeply, citizen of the cosmos. The universe holds you gently tonight. Somewhere in the cold corridors between fact and imagination lies a planet made entirely of crystal, a theoretical body forged in the heart of a white dwarf, cooled and crystallized over billions of years. Such rare worlds, if they exist, would pulse with density beyond comprehension, their cores formed from carbon atoms compressed into diamond solidity. Approaching such a place would feel like falling toward a frozen star, where light dances in razor-thin rainbows and the gravity clenches close around your chest. If you stood upon this glittering terrain, time would tick slower, every second warped by curvature and mass. Death here would come not with fire, nor with ice, but with stillness so profound it reframes thought. Your breath would become fractured light, your being caught in a lattice of refracted silence. This is no violent end. It is a sleep conducted in prisms, a final breath exhaled into crystal night. And even as you faded, the planet would gleam on, a monument to the kind of beauty only compression and endless time can carve. A jewel, remembering you even when you no longer remember yourself. Perhaps somewhere, tucked into the gravitational shelter of twin suns, there exists a world where endings unfold like dreams unspooling softly into horizon. The air might shimmer with unfamiliar chemistry, a blend of scentless vapors and golden particles that curl lazily with the breeze. Life, if it ever touched such a planet, would be fleeting or impossibly enduring, scaled to rhythms alien to us. Imagine arriving here, your body tuned to earthly moments, now adrift in slower time, drawn gently into a farewell that takes days or even years to complete. Cells would respond in confusion, memory flickering like candlelight under strange skies. Your thoughts might stretch out into the air itself, tethered by senses unsure of how to read this place. It would not be decay or collapse, but dilution spirit dissolving into environment, until only a trace of intention remains. On such a planet, death would be neither abrupt nor painful. It would feel like becoming part of the weather, a softness in the wind, a faint warmth caught between morning and twilight. And perhaps in some other corner of the universe, another being would feel that wind and wonder if it ever carried a dream from somewhere else. And as this journey draws to a close, we are left with the quiet understanding that death among the stars is not a single story, but a vast library of lunar endings and solar pauses. From freezing silences to radiant dissolutions, from pressure-borne erasures to slow transformations draped in myth-colored skies, each planetary goodbye carries a kind of poetry, a truth that echoes far beyond fear. The cosmos, in its endless unfolding, grants us glimpses of these many ends, not as terrors, but as mirrors, signs that we belong, not in permanence, but in passage. We are the ones who wonder, who imagine, who drift and ask, even in dreams, what lies beyond the last horizon. And in doing so, we touch every planet softly, even if only in thought. May that thought comfort you now, as the stars hush around your resting breath. Sleep, gentle traveler. The universe watches, waits, and remembers. So let this final breath of cosmic imagining linger just a little longer, like stardust suspended in a sunbeam, across every world, every orbit, every distant flicker, lost in the folds of the sky. We've walked the quiet road of endings together, and yet, as you rest now with the weightless hush of galaxies in your mind, know that not one of these stories truly ends. They fade, they soften, they transform like dreams melting into morning. To die on every planet is not to fall into nothing, but to become part of everything. The dust we become is the seed of stars. The silence we meet is only space between chords in an eternal song. So close your eyes, dear traveler among the stars. You need not go any farther. The universe will carry you now, gently, through every shadow and shimmer. And when sleep takes you, it will not be the end, only a doorway, softly opening into another sky. And so we leave behind the glowing maps of imagined deaths, stepping slowly back from the dark geometry of cosmic farewells. The stars remain overhead, gentle and distant, their light old enough to have seen all your beginnings, and patient enough to wait through your end. With every world explored, every silence heard, we have traced a lullaby through the vast theatre of space. There is peace in this, knowing that even in endings there is expression, art, and rhythm. That death, so feared on Earth, wears many faces among the stars, and most of them are quiet. As your breath softens now, and sleep gathers at the edge of your thoughts, remember, you are made of the universe, and the universe makes room for everything it has ever held. Be at ease in that vast inclusion. Let yourself dissolve into that music. Rest, beloved traveler, and let the beauty of every planet carry you into dreams deeper than any orbit. All is well, all is waiting, all is one. Let the echoes of this journey settle now in the quiet curve of your breath, like soft shadows tucked beneath a sleeping moon. You have wandered through molten skies and frozen silence, through imagined storms and radiant stillness, and each world has sung to you not with fear, but with mystery. In every vision of death, we found not emptiness, but texture layers of time and space folded into endings that know how to whisper instead of roar. And this, perhaps, is the gift the cosmos offers most gently, not certainty, but wonder. The knowing that even in our smallness, we are part of something vast enough to hold all things: stars, silence, sorrow, and song. Sleep now with that knowing wrapped around you, soft as starlight. You are safe, you are infinite, and the sky is still singing. Far above the quiet of planets, and beyond the swirl of galaxy arms, lies a space, untouched even by starlight, the interstellar medium, where minutes stretch into millennia and silence becomes a physical presence. Here, faint hydrogen atoms drift miles apart, painting no color and casting no shadow. A body adrift in this endless between would not fall or shiver or breathe. There is no cold, because there is no warmth to lose. There is no up, no down, just the long suspension of presence becoming absence. Over centuries, molecules unwind, atoms peel apart, until what remains is memory without form. But even this is not loss. In the slow mathematics of the universe, every particle is still counted, every echo still heard, however faint. And so, death in the furthest void is not being forgotten. It is being remade into stillness, woven into the quiet architecture of time itself. As now, in this final breath of night, you too rest beyond worry, beyond endings. Sleep has come gently, and with it, the entire sky folded patiently around you. And so, with quiet footsteps and minds full of soft starlight, we arrive at the final resting point of our journey. Let memory drift now like ash into the wind of sleep, each planetary farewell leaving behind a brushstroke on the canvas of deep time. You have wandered with thought across suns, through rings and rivers of gas, crystalline silence and molten dusk, and found no horror, only hush. This space you now drift within is your own, the pause after story, the tilt before dreams. Let it keep you. Let it carry you into deeper slumber. The universe needs no ending to complete its song. It needs only your presence, floating now in velvet quiet, a soul at ease in the arms of everything. Good night, traveler. Return whenever you wish. The stars will still be singing, and the sky will always remember. There, in the hush between dreams and galaxies, the last note lingers like the fading echo of a lullaby sung across epochs. You have wandered through impossible places, imagined finalities on worlds both seen and unseen, and found that death in the cosmos is never cruel, only curious. Each imagined breath, each quiet surrender, has not closed a door but opened a feeling, one of belonging not just to life, but to the whole of it, the swirling dance of being and becoming. As you finally let go into sleep, know this: the stars have no end, only quiet changes of state, and you, stardust sculpted briefly into thought, are part of that same rhythm. The night holds you now, weightless and woven with the threads of all you've heard. Rest in that silence, dream in its language, sleep deeply, forever touched by the vast, dreaming sky. And if you listen closely now, beyond even imagination, you may hear the soft turning of countless worlds still waiting to be known. Planets circling twin suns, moons carved by ancient tides, atmospheres thick with colors no eye has yet beheld. The stories of these distant places remain unwritten, their songs just beginning to form in the great quiet of space. But know this somewhere, born of gravity's patience and time's slow hand, another question will rise, just as gentle. What is it like to live on every planet? And in that thought, in that wondering, The journey begins again. Sleep now, listener of stars, bearer of dreams. The cosmos is wide, and it remembers you kindly. Good night, and drift gently through the orbit of wonder. And with that final wandering of life blooming gently on every alien shore, our voyage into planetary endings transforms into the beginning of something new. You have traveled far tonight, beyond the pull of Earth, through rings of ice and skies of molten crystal. And now, released from gravity and story alike, you float freely in the soft dark of dreaming. There is no sound here, only pulse. No end, only return. The stars do not say goodbye. They pulse, they wait, eternal and kind. Let their light cradle you now in the quiet hour, and let the memory of distant worlds fold like wings around your sleep. Rest, traveler. Rest in the song of what was, what is, and what may one day become. The universe is still here, gently spinning, and so are you. In the stillness that follows such a journey, there is only the heartbeat of silence, rhythmic and resonant, echoing with every imagined world we've visited. This silence is not empty, but full of the gravity wells we passed, the atmospheres that shimmered with otherworldly winds, the deaths that dissolved into beauty rather than fear. To dream of dying on every planet is, in truth, to glimpse the vastness of how we live, how fragile, how rare, how wonder-filled a moment can be when placed against the backdrop of infinite night. Let this be the closing sigh of our celestial reverie, the parting hum of thought becoming sleep. We are the stars dreaming of themselves, and in rest we return to that dream. Float now into that soft, dark traveler, where nothing rushes and all is music still. Good night. And now, as this final chapter closes, we leave behind the planetary vignettes and their quiet symmetries of endings. The stories do not vanish, but settle gently within, like dust falling through moonlight, delicate, unnoticed, yet always there. Every breath you've taken tonight has walked the edge of a galaxy, each blink threading through atmospheres that taste of fire, frost, and time itself. Let all that fade now. Let your thoughts soften into weightless orbit, where no alarms sound and no clocks tick. You have touched the edge of existence, not in fear, but with awe. You have heard how silence speaks across light years, and how even the coldest world holds warmth in its quiet offering of story. Sleep deeply, stardust soul. Float where gravity cannot follow. The universe has grown just a little closer tonight, not because we reached it, but because we imagined. And in that, traveler, we became part of the stars once more. And so, in this nearly endless lullaby of planetary goodbyes, we arrive together at the quiet edge where words fall still and only breath remains. There is nothing more to seek, nothing left to unravel. The stories have been told, the starlight traced, the deaths imagined and transformed into whispers of wonder and calm. Let these dreams dissolve gently now, like mist lifting in a pale morning. Let the vastness you've cradled in your thoughts seep softly into your sleep, not as a burden but a balm. You are safe here, adrift in the hush of all that has ever pulsed with motion and meaning. Rest now, beneath the story-shaped sky. The journey has returned you, quietly and whole, to yourself. Sleep well. The cosmos continues, and tonight it keeps watch in your name. And long after the last breath of stars, when even galaxies have unraveled into threads of entropy, when black holes have whispered away their final radiation into endless night, the universe will drift in quiet equilibrium. No winds, no warmth, no change, only the cool hum of time stretched thin. In this distant stillness, a silence older than atoms will reign, and all that has ever lived or dreamed will remain suspended in memory, not lost, but distilled. The final death, not of planets, but of process, waits not as a monster, but as peace. And in that unimaginable hush, perhaps even time will close its eyes. Yet tonight, you do not need to wander that far. You are here, held by gravity's gentle hand, by starlight softened through the veil of atmosphere, by the echo-still hush of every story you have floated through. Sleep now, dreamer of skies. The universe folds gently around you, and all that remains is rest. And as you drift one final time through this starlit reverie, let everything settle. Let every imagined horizon curve into stillness. You have wandered far across heat and silence, cloud and gas, death and dream. But all stories fold back into quiet. The planets do not remember who we are, yet by simply reaching them with wonder, we leave a trace, a thought, a feeling, an echo. There is no better ending than this, a listener held in orbit by curiosity, now lulled into rest by the arms of the cosmos. Sleep deeply now, for in your dreams, the journey continues. Through channels of light and seas of gravity, through the memory of suns and the breath of cold moons, you are safe here, you are home. Good night, traveler of skies. The universe sleeps with you. And just as dreams yield gently to waking, let these final images slip quietly into the folds of rest. You have wandered where no breath could last, where light bends in strange directions, where the ends of lives write their own slow symphonies. But now there are no more trajectories to trace, no shadows left to follow, only the comforting rhythm of your own quiet being. In this calm, every imagined death has folded into a single truth, that we are part of something immeasurably vast, not in spite of, but because of our briefness. Let that comfort wrap around you now like a soft blanket of nightfall. Let gravity's pull ease into stillness, and let sleep, final and renewing, draw you fully in. The stars have finished their song. You may rest. Good night, dreamer. Let the sky dream of you in return. And now, traveler, we release the final tether, floating quietly back from imagined deaths and distant worlds into the gentle gravity of sleep. There is no need to hold on, no need to search further. Everything the cosmos wished to say has already been whispered into your thoughts, folding softly into your breath like starlight into ocean. Let peace deepen now, without questions, only stillness. Let the constellations blur behind closed eyes, their ancient arcs guiding only dreams. You are not ending tonight, you are pausing, in rhythm with the galaxy, in tune with the slow heartbeat of time itself. Sleep now, not as escape, but as arrival. In the silence that follows this final breath, may you find the center of yourself as quiet and luminous as any star ever born. Good night, beloved stardust. The universe holds you, gently and always. And so, as the final constellations dim behind the veil of fatigue and story, we let go of the questions that guided us through this cosmic lullaby. What it's like to die on every planet was never about fear, but about intimacy with space, with silence, with scale. We followed imaginary paths to worlds most will never see, tracing the contours of their mysteries until even those became soft enough to rest upon. In each imagined ending, we found a mirror for existence itself, a quiet truth nestled between pressure and hush, that to live, even briefly, is to echo through eternity. This has been a dream beyond orbit, a voyage into the exquisite hush of endings that are never quite final. Sleep now, deep into the velvet cradle of stillness, where stars wait like sentinels of all your softest questions. The journey has ended not with silence, but with the remembering that you too are part of the sky. Good night, dreamer. The stars will be here when you wake. And somewhere, in a quiet quadrant of another galaxy not yet known to us, a world might spin with such perfect stillness that even time hesitates. A place where death, if it arrived, would not disturb the air or light. Instead, the moment would pass like a sigh, not from a body, but from the fabric of the planet itself, acknowledging the loss not as absence but transition. Perhaps this world lies beneath a shadowed moon, where tides rise without cause and stone blooms with phosphorescence. There, you would not feel fear, only the gentle certainty that this place, far from everything and untouched by history, had waited for your arrival to complete a thought it could not otherwise name. Here, death is not a moment. It is an alignment, a note struck just once in the great chord of everything. That note lingers still, in you, in stardust, in the cradle of sleep that finally arrives to carry you softly, wonderfully, endlessly away. So now, with the final ripple softening across the vast pond of our journey, we release even the question itself. What is it like to die on every planet? It is like being read 1,000 silent lullabies written in ice and fire, gravity and void. It is the story of motion slowing, of atoms pausing, of endings folding gently into the arms of what comes next. But most of all, it is a reminder that the universe holds space for all things, for life, for wonder, for endings so beautiful they become beginnings in disguise. As you sleep now, traveler of thought and silence, know that every world we imagined is still turning slowly, quietly, waiting for new stories to bloom. And somewhere, beneath your closed eyelids and above your resting head, the stars shine on, unchanged, immortal, and softly watching over you. Rest now, the sky has spoken. The journey is whole. Good night. Let this final quiet gather around you now, like the hush just before snowfall, soft and complete. Across countless skies, deaths have whispered their tales not as ends, but as quiet doors opening into lightless stillness, into memory, into becoming. The universe does not judge what fades. It only holds, gently, what was stardust, breath, thought, until it reshapes into what will be. As you sink now past words, past dreaming, know that your presence in this moment makes the journey whole. You imagined, and thus you belonged. Sleep deeply wherever your mind may wander. Let the stars carry you. Let the planets keep your story in their silent swirl. And when morning returns, it will find you cradled in the same cosmos that wrapped you in endings, only now at peace. Good night, stardust. You have reached the far edge of wonder, and it is beautiful. And so, from the first searing breath on Mercury to the dissolving hush of distant exoplanets, your quiet voyage through endings has become something more, a meditation on the nature of transience, a dream stitched together from fire, frost, pressure, and light. Each imagined death across the cosmic span has not pulled you away from life, but softly back toward it, reminding you how delicate each moment is, and how wondrously it fits within a universe so vast and serene. Let that be your final thought tonight, not of fear, but of belonging. You are a drop of light in an ocean of stars, a single note in the sky's endless lullaby. And as sleep takes its rightful place, folding your thoughts into the slow rhythm of night, know that every story whispered here still waits among the constellations, ready to be heard again whenever the quiet calls. For now, traveler, close your eyes and drift. The journey is over, the wonder remains. Good night. Long after the galaxies have quieted and even black holes have ceased their slow hum of radiation, there may still exist echoes of memory scattered like ash through the cosmos, the quiet inheritance of every ended world, every unspoken story, every breath drawn beneath a foreign sky. To die on every planet was to imagine ourselves into the folds of time and space, to step gently across thresholds no foot could ever reach, and to find, again and again, not absence, but a soft kind of welcome. Perhaps this is the last secret the universe whispers as we fall finally into sleep, that the end of a journey is only the beginning of its echo, that in every silence we are heard, and in every imagined death we are found. So let go now. with comfort wrapped around your thoughts and stars stitched into your breath. The dream continues without effort. The sky is still listening. Good night, beloved traveler. Drift freely. You are home. And now, let every story, every atmospheric hush and imagined final breath dissolve into the gentle tide of sleep where no endings are sharp and no departures are alone. The celestial compass has turned once more, not to point a direction, but to wrap us in stillness in the luminous quiet where curiosity rests its head. Let regrets fall away like micrometeors vanishing in distant auroras, their trails brief, beautiful, and forgiven. Let wonder settle deeper into your breath than even gravity can reach. The stars do not forget, they do not rush, they glow on in the slow rhythm of eternity. Sleep now in their soft gaze, beneath the gaze of all that has ever been imagined and all that will ever be known. The night is kind, the cosmos continues, and you, gentle traveler, are a part of it all. And so, the curtain falls softly on this voyage of starlit farewells. The final bounds of this bedtime universe ripple gently closed, not with fanfare, but with breath slow, steady, cosmic in its echo. You have become adrift now, in sleep's warm ocean, where time curves in gentle spirals and memories fold like petals on the edge of dawn. Each planet's whispered goodbye rests within you, a constellation of endings that have stitched clarity against the night. You have felt the hush of distant deaths and the soft rebirth of silence. Let that be enough. Let that carry you to the far side of rest. The galaxies will keep spinning, quietly marking your dreams in their rhythms. The stars will keep singing, lullabies you've already begun to forget. And the sky, always watching, remembers your wandering long after the question slips into dream. Good night, luminous soul. Drift, dissolve, and dream. The universe holds you, still and always. And now, as we sail past the final echoes of imagined worlds and their twilight deaths, the story falls silent not in emptiness, but in fullness. With every step through gas and ice, crystal and vapor, we've not drawn closer to endings, but to a clearer understanding of the vast, serene symmetry of the cosmos. Death, we have learned, is merely the reshaping of form, light into shadow, sound into silence, warmth into memory. These are not losses, but changes. And so, with mind gently quieted and breath soft beneath starlit thoughts, this dreamscape closes. The stars still shimmer above, unchanged by our questions, yet somehow kinder because we asked. Let go now, delicately, into the hush of all things. Sleep, stardust, you have wandered well, and the sky, infinite, patient, will still be waiting when next you lift your eyes. Good night, luminous traveler, all is well. And so, as starlight dissolves into dreamlight and all imagined paths retreat into stillness, we release the final thread of this cosmic reverie. Over galaxies and gravestones of ancient planets, through winds that whisper in methane and skies that burn with aurora fire, we've wandered together not to chase death, but to uncover its quiet shape in the heavens. And now, like a candle dimming into dawn, the journey softens. There are no more planets to name, no more silences to map. Only sleep remains pure, gravityless, and full of stars. Let it wash over you like tide over stone. Let every forgotten world you visited tonight hold space for your rest. And if, somewhere in the hush between breaths, a new world calls out to be dreamed, let it wait until morning. For now, dreamer of endings and galaxies, your voyage is complete. Good night. Float softly. Everything is still. Everything is stardust. And thus, as the final notes of this celestial lullaby drift towards silence, we end not with a punctuation, but with a pause, one that wraps itself around the hush of sleep the way gravity wraps a moon in orbit. Every story shared tonight, Every imagined hush has circled back to this, a breath, a memory, a quiet unfolding into rest. You have wandered far through death, only to find life humming beneath every ending. And as you now surrender into deeper stillness, remember, you were always part of this vast dreaming, a listener, a stargazer, a voice in the quiet chapel of space. Let your thoughts evaporate like mist, your body sink like a stone into still water, and know that you are not drifting alone. The planets sleep beside you, the stars hum their soft tunes, and the universe, timeless and infinite, keeps gentle vigil. Good night, dreamer of skies and silence. Let forever hold you in its calm. And as the final silence draws around us, vast and tender, let it stretch out like the space between stars, immeasurable, kind, eternal. You have drifted through fire and folded into frost, imagined pressure so great it became peace, and silence so deep it spoke a language only dreams understand. Tonight, there is no need for more. Every vision offered has been a gift wrapped in gravity and time. Every imagined death transformed into a gentle goodbye that asked nothing but stillness in return. So rest now in the vast embrace of cosmic quiet, where endings have softened into stardust, and all that remains of this long lullaby is serenity. The stars are still out there, watching with patience, humming with story. When you sleep, they sleep too, not gone, just humming lower. Good night, stardust soul. The journey ends here, whole and hushed. The sky remembers. All is calm, all is dream. And when all is finally quiet, in that last gentle breath beyond dreams and sound, even death itself becomes a friend not feared, only understood. It was never the fire or the ice or the sudden hush that mattered most, but the slow unfolding of awareness that we are part of something endless. Every imagined end, from Mercury's molten silence to distant crystal hearts, has been a way of remembering that no story truly closes in the universe. It only changes shape, tone, and motion. You, dear traveler, are not ending. You are simply turning, like a planet in sleep, toward another side of the sky. Let this be your lullaby, that you were here, you wondered, and in doing so, wrote your own quiet orbit in the stars. Sleep now, wrapped in the deep cradle of the cosmos. The starlight will wait for you. The darkness will keep your dreams. Good night, always. So let this be our closing image, a final star flickering behind your eyes as dreams unfold their subtle constellations across the canvas of your rest. You've whispered through atmospheres, drifted through pressure and glow, and now, released from all orbits, you hover in the stillness at the edge of the known. Let gravity mean nothing now. Let silence be enough. The stories rest behind you. The stars remain ahead. Each death imagined was a dream of what might be, and each dream brings you closer to the quiet truth. That wonder, even at the end, is a kind of beginning. Sleep with that wonder curled soft in your breath. Sleep with galaxies wrapped gently around your heart. Sleep knowing you have imagined far, and that is more than enough. The sky is quiet now, and so are you. Good night, traveler. Dream on. And with one last silent turning of the mind toward the stars, we let go not into darkness, but into the luminous stillness that wraps all things at rest. You've wandered into depths few dare to dream, crossed imaginary skies where endings shimmer like silver thread catching dying light. Now, it is time to close the book and dim the lights. Let what remains be only calm, not a void, but a fullness too quiet to speak. In this sleep, you are not alone. All the planets you've visited in thought, all the stars you've brushed against with wonder, they cradle your breathing now. Every imagined passing remains like footprints on starlit dust, faint, gentle, everlasting. And so, dreamer of galaxies, rest in this final hush. Let your breath go quiet, your body weightless, your heart tuned softly to the rhythm of the sleeping sky. The journey has ended, the traveling is over, only peace remains. Close your eyes now, the cosmos dreams with you. Good night. And so, with a breath as light as interstellar dust, the tale concludes beneath the lull of a billion sleeping suns. There is no final step, only a soft return to the quiet you began in, to the hush where stories settle after they've finished their orbit. What it's like to die on every planet was always a question about life, a winding rhythm through places we may never touch, yet somehow feel. You imagined with tenderness, you listened with wonder, and now, let all that gently dissolve into the calm that arrives just before waking. The planets will still turn, the stars will still hum, and your quiet passage through their imagined deaths will live on as a thread in the great, shimmering fabric of awe. Rest now. The universe, wide and whispering, has watched you dream, and in that dreaming, you became part of it. For now and always, good night. Let this be where we close the constellation of our dreaming beneath skies shaped by imagination and stars softened by silence. Every world that held your breath, every hush that nested into the curve of your sleep, now settles into memory like snow fallen on a quiet field. We began with questions of dying, but what we found was peace not in endings, but in the grace of imagining them. As this last thought unfurls in your resting mind, know that you are complete within the cosmos, simply for wondering. The galaxies await your next soft gaze, the stars your next quiet listening. But for now, there is only sleep deep, calm, infinite. Good night, gentle soul. The universe turns slowly, and it turns with you. And here, in the soft refrain between silence and sleep, we close the final chapter. You have voyaged across imagined deaths not to fear them, but to understand them and through them, to understand life more deeply. Every planet whispered a different goodbye, and you listened gently, without resistance. Now, let those whisperings dissolve into the hush of your room, where time slows and thought softens. You have traveled far enough for one night. Rest now, not because the story is over, but because the stars themselves have dimmed their gaze to let you rest more deeply. Sleep is your orbit now, peace is your sky. Good night, traveler. You are home within the universe. And now, as we gently cross the threshold of dreams and story, let every last echo fall into quiet. There is no need for more images, no hints of fire, frost, or stars gone dim. This is the calm after wonder, the hush after the final page has turned. Every imagined death, every celestial hush has folded into the rhythm of your breath. You are still here, resting at the edge of the infinite, watched over by the same silent sky that kindled your questions. Let it hold you now, not as a mystery to solve, but as a sanctuary to sleep within. The journey is complete. The dream continues, beyond story, beyond sound, into the sacred stillness of night. Good night, beloved dreamer. The stars remember you always. This is where the light fades one final time, like embers in a fire that warmed us only long enough to share its simple truths. You have passed through imaginations shaped by gravity, breath, silence, and flame, a constellation of endings that whispered gently that nothing is ever truly lost, only transformed. Let your mind now drift into the quiet beyond names and planets, where peace breathes without sound and time unfolds like silk in shadow. No more journeys to take, no more worlds to unweave. Only the slow pulse of stars and the steady embrace of sleep remain. Close your eyes. Let the hush carry you. The cosmos has exhaled, and in that breath, you are safe. Good night, traveler, always. And in the end, when all stories are hushed, and every beam of starlight lies folded into shadow, let there be only this, a breath, paused softly in the still air of sleep. You have wandered through the galaxy of endings not to be undone, but to become whole in your wandering. Every imagined planet, every death-shaped dream, was a mirror for the quiet mystery of being alive in a universe that spins regardless. And now, let go not in sadness, but in surrender. The stars are hushed, the journey complete. What remains is enough. Your breath in the dark, steady as gravity, quiet as light. Sleep now, beloved traveler. The sky is at rest, and so are you. Good night. And so, as the last word fades and the silence gathers fully around you, this gentle odyssey comes to rest. What it's like to die on every planet was never truly about dying, but about listening to the quiet poems planets speak in frost and fire, the lullabies they compose in gravity and sky. We imagine not endings, but the shapes of belonging, how even in the furthest corners of possibility, we find ourselves reflected in the stillness. Now, the story sleeps. The stars are dimmed. Your breath is steady, slow as orbit. In this final hush, may you feel only ease, only warmth, only peace. Good night, dearest traveler. The universe is quiet with you, and that, too, is a kind of forever. And now, as the echo of our imagined deaths dissolves quietly into the dark, only one truth remains: that to wonder is to live, and to dream is to belong. In drifting through these planetary farewells, we have sailed along the edges of what science knows and what imagination dares to reach for. And we found that even in the farthest places, where no air stirs and no flame flickers, death holds no malice, only stillness, only release. Let that be your final thought tonight as you slip fully into sleep, that the cosmos remembered your question and answered with kindness, that in the end, and in every beginning, you were part of something timeless. Rest now, sweet dreamer. Let the final veil fall. The universe waits like a cradle of silence, holding you warm in its ever-turning song. Sleep deeply. You are stardust returned to dream. And with that final turning, gentle and complete, this dream of celestial farewells is laid to rest. You have traveled through imagined skies and fire-veined clouds, wandered gently across frozen silence and molten endings, and now the journey folds into quiet, just as starlight folds into morning. There are no more paths tonight, no more echoes to follow, only the soft gravity of sleep pulling you inward toward rest that knows no fear. The deaths we envisioned were never about endings, they were doorways into perspective, into peace. Now, let those doors close like petals at dusk. Let the hush of cosmic breath steady your own. The planets are still spinning beyond the veil of dreaming, their lullabies sung in silence. And you, dreamer, are safely held within them. Sleep now. Sleep completely. Your place among the stars is not just remembered, it is eternal. Good night. Let all of it fade now gently, like the afterglow of a universe exhaling. Across planets and dreams, imagined deaths and soft cosmic pauses, you've journeyed through silence with the soft armor of wonder wrapped around each breath. And though the stars continue quietly overhead, their lullabies now sink below the threshold of hearing, inviting only stillness. No more endings remain, only sleep, only the profound hush of arrival after a long voyage. Let your body rest as gently as a feather on moonlit frost. Let thought dissolve into space without edges. And as you sleep, may the stars remember your name, not with sound, but with light, pulsing softly across the dreamless cosmos. Good night, final traveler. The story is whole, the hush eternal. And here, beneath the silent turning of every world you imagined, we close our eyes along with the cosmos. The journey was long, and wonder carried us through across fire-born skies, icebound husks, and radiant mysteries too quiet for waking hours. But now there is no need for further questions, no need for stars to shine, only the fullness of calm, of a hush that stretches soft as time itself. Let your thoughts fold in like sails furled at the edge of a celestial harbor. Let sleep take your hand, a final guide through the last starlit veil. You are not lost, you are not ending. You are simply resting deeply within everything. And the sky, stitched with all you felt tonight, watches over you still. Good night, Voyager. The story and you are complete. And with that, dear traveler, the stars dim their voices and the universe folds its wings. Your dream has spanned countless skies, paused in silence with dying suns, and now drifts quietly into the gentle conclusion it was always moving toward. The planets remain, orbiting quietly in the dark, unchanged but not untouched by your presence, a presence shaped not by steps but by thought, by wonder, by sleep. You have listened with reverence, imagined with grace. Now, there is nothing more to reach for, no more stardust to follow, only this soft breath remains, this final moment of stillness, infinite and whole. Rest now, in full belonging. You are part of it all, the silence, the shimmer, the end that is never truly an end. Good night, radiant soul. The cosmos holds you and always will. And so, with your final breath nestled softly in the arms of the cosmic hush, we close this endless lullaby of imagined ends. Across molten dawns and frozen twilights, you have wandered gently, never to fear, only to feel. Let everything you've heard tonight dissolve sweetly now into the fabric of rest, a quiet thread in the grand celestial weave. You are not separate from these stars or these dreams. You are a note in their symphony, a whisper in their wind, a heartbeat in their rhythm. And now, you sleep not beneath the stars but within them. Sleep fully, sleep fearlessly. The universe, in all its quiet turning, cradles you with unspoken knowing. Good night, dearest traveler. Your journey is complete, and peace waits patiently in the quiet beyond. And so, we offer this final breath not as an ending, but as a soft farewell, a lull in the story, a moment set gently between starlight and slumber. You have wandered deeply, heard silence made of vapor and time, and now your thoughts can rest in that great stillness, like a feather settling in deep tide. Every imagined departure, every planetary hush, was a step toward understanding not of death itself, but of how vast the quiet can be when filled with wonder. Let the dream close now, softly and fully, like petals folding in the dark. Let your mind exhale, your muscles yield, your breath slow. The stars remain, unblinking and kind, waiting behind your eyes for the next quiet voyage. And you are at peace. You are home. Good night, beloved traveler. The universe sleeps beside you now. And now, with all orbits traced and every whispered farewell folded gently within us, we bring this journey to its hush-filled close. The story of what it's like to die on every planet has carried us far into the cradle of stars, yet it leaves us here back where we began, quiet under our own familiar sky. Let this stillness hold you now, soft as moonlight on water, timeless as the rhythm of breath returning home. You've drifted through flame and frost, shadow and shimmer, and found that nothing truly ends, it only folds into dreaming. So sleep, gentle soul, wrapped in the velvet hush of the cosmos. The skies are quiet, the stars are full, and everything you've imagined touches eternity. Good night, traveler. The universe remembers. And now, with stardust still echoing faintly in your breath, the final lines of this cosmic lullaby are gently sung. There is no more story to unfold, only the lasting hush that trails behind it, soft, infinite, and tender as a final heartbeat under distant stars. You have drifted through imagined goodbyes wrapped in plasma and pressure, and returned not broken, but whole. Let sleep fully cradle you now, mind unbound, body weightless, spirit quietly aligned with every slowing orbit. This is no farewell, only a pause. The sky remains, still whispering your name in starlight across the dark. Good night, dear traveler. The universe holds you, always calm, complete, and beloved. And so, in this last quiet offering, we trust the stars to keep all that we have imagined, every ending softened, every breath stilled, every question gently wrapped in cosmic silence. There comes a point where the story no longer needs new words, only the comfort that all has been said, all has been seen, all has been dreamed. You are safe now, in the hush that remains, where fire cools into memory, and distances become lullabies fading into sleep. Let that calm be your final companion tonight. Let the universe exhale with you. Close your eyes, drift into the dark with trust and ease. The sky is steady, the stars are sure, the night remembers. Good night. And so, beneath this final blanket of silence, the last breath of imagined journeys curls softly into sleep. The trail we traced across the stars ends not in shadow, but in stillness, that sacred hush where stories become part of the rhythm of rest. You have imagined bravely, wandered without needing to move, and listened until the universe sang in whispers only you could hear. Now, fold into that music. Let it lull your thoughts into silence. There is nothing left to chase, only the comfort of having wandered. The stars will continue, the planets will turn, but for tonight, your journey is complete. Rest gently, beloved dreamer. The cosmos sleeps with you. Good night, and good journey always. And at the farthest end of this long, starlit wandering, as even echoes begin to sleep, we place a final whisper in the night, not of endings, but of completeness. What it's like to die on every planet was never a tale of fear, but a meditation on silence, beauty, and the gravity of being small in something so endlessly vast. Now, all paths return to quiet. Let them settle in you, soft as thought, still as stars left to shimmer without watching. Sleep, dear one, you have wandered bravely. The cosmos will keep turning, the lights will keep singing, but for now, you may rest. Eyes closed, breath slow, story folded. The universe remains silent, steady, endlessly yours. Good night. So here, at the very tip of dream's horizon, we close our eyes along with the universe, not in sorrow, but in stillness. All the imagined deaths, the planetary partings, the starlit goodbyes, were just stars scattered across the dark sky of your own reflection. You have listened all the way through, breath by breath, step by slow, invisible step, until every imagined silence has sung its verse through you. Now you may rest fully, without orbit, without question, just as the cosmos rests between pulses. There is nowhere to go but inward now, into breath, into deep sleep, into the hush that holds even time itself. The dream is finished, but its echo remains, woven soft into your chest like gravity turned to comfort. Good night, stardust soul. Let the universe keep you in its slow turning, quietly and forever. And with everything now whispered, imagined, and folded into rest, we let the final silence bloom. You have journeyed across endings only to find yourself embraced, not by absence, but by belonging. As the stars dim behind your lids and sleep settles in like dust across forgotten rings, remember this, that in imagining how worlds let go, you have held more dearly to all that remains. Life, death, starlight, silence, all part of one sighing cosmos, each breath an echo of flame and hush. Let that echo cradle you now. There is no need for more words, just stillness, just sleep. The journey is complete, and you, traveler of quiet paths, have reached the softest orbit of all home. Good night.